Here's cookies.
Oh, here's the cookie cutter. That's my boy.
They're not doggy cookies, they're people cookies.
We'll get started in just a minute. We've got a people who are texting and trying to get on.
You probably, probably should they want us to while they do that. They usually don't want you to do that because there's feedback.
I only see 4 people on, but I hear other people who are on, so.
You see
Go
what?
ahead and mute.
How many people are done right
14.
now?
14.
Ah, okay, so I can only see 4.
Me too.
They don't have their video on.
Oh, they don't got their video on.
Well, I see 6 people. Well, no, 5. I mean, I see myself.
We're a duo here. Plus the cat and the dog.
Oh, I have to.
All right, so Sebastian, do you think you're ready? Should we go ahead and get started?
Yeah.
Ready?
You want me to?
All right.
You've seen me not ready to talk?
Very good point. So, hello, Roseborough Explorers. I'm so excited that you got on today for our Gems of Southeast Europe with AmaWaterways. My name is Amanda Valone. I'm one of the owners of Roseborough Travel, along with Tiffany Clay, who, if you know our office, I sit in the back and she's literally right behind me. She's saying hi back there. Our team is here and they're all saying hello. They cannot wait for us to have some groups going on AmaWaterways in the upcoming year. And we're so excited to present to you today, Gems of Southeast Europe. Now, I wrote a little corny spiel, so you have to stick with me because this is the month of October. Are you ready to have a wicked good time? We are. Today we're going to take a bite out of river cruising down the Danube through southeastern Europe. And along the way, we'll definitely be seeing the castle that inspired none other than Dracula, which I am my Audible right now. And you'll get to hear all about legendary Transylvania. So we're going to go ahead and pass the microphone and all of the video access over to our amazing man with the plan, cruise director, American / Frenchman now, right? Sebastien Leroy, who is from AmaWaterways. AmaWaterways is one of my favorite cruise lines. It's a river cruise that's been around for 18 years. Is that right? 18
That's
years
correct.
this year?
Yeah.
And they were actually created from writing, I have like a torn up napkin here, from putting their plans together on a napkin. It all began with literally sketches on a napkin, and they are amazing river cruise company to go with. So, Sebastian, take it away and tell us all of these things to go see and do. Well, we are on our amazing Gems of the Southeast Europe river cruise with you.
I'll do my best. Thank you, Amanda. That's a great introduction. I mean, thank you so much. And this with the napkin. I mean, I will make sure that Rudy knows this, because we still have actually the napkin with the first design of the ship. It's still in the head office. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here today. As you just heard from Amanda, my name is Sebastien Leroy. So of course she pronounces it with the American way. So it's Sebastien Leroy. Because I mean it has to be, since I also have now my US citizenship for a year, so we can do it the French or the American way. I'm with AmaWaterways, great cruise line, great river cruise line. Hope that I will be able to help you deciding to go on this trip that will take us in Eastern Europe, Southeast Europe. Just one little thing, just before we start. If you see that I'm stopping for a second sometimes, it's because I'm still letting our guests come in. And what I will do now, I will mute everyone, and then at the end of the presentation, which is approximately in 6 hours from now, we will open for questions. And of course, you know, Amanda, that you can chime in at any time. So, AmaWaterways, we were founded, as you just heard, in 2002. 2002, and before talking about our itinerary, which is the one you see here, I would like to talk a little bit about where we are nowadays, because when we started in 2002, we had, we chartered actually our first cruise ship, because as you just heard, the first one was being designed from a napkin, and between a napkin design and the construction of a ship, it takes a little bit of time. Right? It actually took 4 years. And in 2006, we had our first AmaDagio, our first vessel that was built. And nowadays, our fleet is a little more consequent, I would say, because we operate at the moment 23 cruise ships. And in a couple of months from now, we will be operating 26 of them. So 2 new ones coming in March and a third one coming in September of 2021. This will be also the occasion for us to start cruising on to develop a new itinerary, which will be on the Nile River in Egypt. But that's not where we're going today. We will be on the lower Danube, so the Danube's second longest river in Europe. And just, I think at the beginning, we should talk a little bit about safety and about what we are doing for our guests. And I'm really saying what we are doing and not what we plan on doing. Reason for this is that we are cruising. We've been cruising actually since July 5th. We are the only North American cruise line, North American based cruise line, operating in Europe. So we have to operate, of course, with European passengers, since I mean, it is almost impossible for American guests to come on a cruise. It's not impossible. It's almost impossible, and because the so-called travel ban, it's always a term that is I think a little. It can be interpreted in different ways. It's not really a ban, and what happens is that you would have, if you wanted to go to Europe now, and I can tell you this firsthand because our owner, Christine, I mean the wife of Rudy, she's in Germany at the moment, and what happens is that when you arrive to Europe, coming from the US, you just have to quarantine, and that's pretty much what happens also to European willing to come to the United States. So that's where we are at the moment, but. We will restart our operation with our American guests next season. And we have interrupted, we have postponed our cruises until next season. But what we've been doing now with our European passengers has been working great. I mean, I'm super happy to report, and I have one of my friends, Nick Hartog, who is the cruise manager as we speak on the Amastella, and since July 5th, we've had absolutely zero COVID case. I mean, zero, nothing. And we are certain, we have been following up with all our guests. I mean, 2 weeks after, everything is fine. So what we have implemented, of course, face masks are mandatory in the areas where the physical distancing is not possible. So physical distancing, of course, we're talking about the 6 feet or 2 meters. So, for example, when you're in the corridor on board the ship and where you have the staterooms, but there, obviously, you will not be able to observe this physical distancing. So that's where we ask our guests to wear a mask. But of course, in the areas like the sun deck or outside, I mean, you don't have to. We do daily temperature screenings. So that's every morning before going to breakfast. I mean, we have, of course, hand sanitizing stations like all over the ship. We also ask you prior to the cruise, we ask our guests to fill out 2 health questionnaire, more self-assessments, I would say. And we have also been very careful on the sanitation and sanitizing the luggage when you arrive on the ship to make sure that everybody stays safe, the crew also, the crew and our guests. And you see at the bottom left, there is this little sign that says clean air. And I think this clean air, it is important to mention it because it's been a subject on TV. I mean, everybody hears about recycled air in airplanes, about HEPA filters, and all these things. And there is a lot of information that is missing there. And that's why we want to say clean air, because first of all, we do not use recycled air, so recirculated air. What does this mean? But it means that, for example, when you're on an ocean liner, on the very large one, you have no choice. You will have to have recirculated air. So this means that the air will go throughout the ship more than one time. And there's no choice, because it has to come from the outside and then go inside. You have inside cabins. It has to move differently. On a river cruise ship, this does not happen, simply because you have the possibility to build different zones. Each stateroom has its own system. So the air is pulled from the outside and then it's re-ejected immediately. And there is no interconnection in terms of the air that will circulate, for example, from the lounge. It will stay in the lounge and then go out. The air from the restaurant goes to the restaurant and goes out. The back restaurant, same thing. So that's what we call clean air. There is no recirculation of the air on board the ships, and that's something when others, and I'm not going to give names, but you can figure it out yourself, I'm sure, say that they are working on it. We do not need to work on it, and that's a great thing, because we built the ships properly from scratch. So that's, I think, a great thing. We will talk about the excursions in a few minutes, because the excursions, that's something that evolves all the time as we learn more about COVID, and you see every day. I mean, everybody learns more. I choose to focus on the information that is useful, that is positive, not on the information that just scares people and that is oftentimes not complete. So what I wanted to say as well is about the financial side of the company, because also we've seen that this pandemic, I mean, has brought a lot of uncertainty when it comes to will the cruise line be there next year? I mean, are they still going to be able to operate or not? Well, we will, and that's the beauty of it, is that we have no debt, and that's why you have these quotes on the left that I've put, because I think nowadays it's super important to know when a company doesn't carry debt. And basically this means that the company is clean and that it can operate completely. And the last sentence from Rudy is, there's no debt on any of our ships. I can sleep at night. And I think, I mean, if the owner of our company can sleep well at night, that's also a good thing, because this means we can sleep at night very well too. But let's talk a little bit about where we will be going. So, of course, you will be going from Transylvania to Vienna, possibly. And of course, when we were supposed to do the first one, the original cruise, it was supposed to be the other way around. So what I will do, I will go the other way around, but don't forget that you will learn all about it, and you will see everything, no matter the direction. So. And actually, you know what? We could even do it differently. Let me just go to the very end, and we will just come back. That's a super way to do it. And the good thing is that you see these pictures very quickly, but you don't see you don't know them very well. So that's the good thing. So welcome to Bucharest. So what happens when you will be arriving in Bucharest? Should you choose, you have two possibilities, and don't forget that when you will think about it, go to Amanda, go to Tiffany. I mean, all the girls, Debbie, etc. at Roseborough Travel, they know the answer to all your questions. And when I say all your questions, I'll refine that. I mean, they know 99.9% of the answers to your questions. For the 0.1% that they don't know, they know my phone number, and usually we solve the rest. So make sure that you ask them, because not only will they give you, and I know already, and I'm sure, Amanda, you will talk about it at the end, but I know that pretty much for this group, from what I've seen, you're getting the best deal possible in terms of incentives. There's nobody who can do better, and I can already tell you that there will be no additional promotion in the future, because really what you're getting is a really great thing. So how does it work? Well, let's say that you would arrive and you want to go to this pre-extension in Transylvania. So Transylvania is just a little north. It's approximately 2.5 hours by car north from Bucharest. And Bucharest itself is located approximately an hour drive north from the Danube River, from Giurgiu. So you will arrive in Bucharest, and we will stay first overnight it's a very, very nice hotel, the Radisson, which is located in the heart of the old city, right next to the concert hall, which you can see here, which is the main concert hall in Bucharest. And you will arrive, you will be received at the airport by the AmaWaterways airport team. You will meet your cruise manager at the hotel. And it is very important to meet the cruise manager at the hotel, and that's why the cruise managers always go with our guests on the pre and on the post extensions, because we want to make sure that you have one point of contact that you will know all the way. I mean, it's not like you're doing something at a hotel and when we let you on your own, and then you arrive on the ship, beautiful, and then when you go somewhere else, you're dropped again. We don't do that. We want to make sure that our guests feel comfortable from the moment when they arrive until the very end when they leave again. And again, I know that Amanda can really testify about that, because it's not the first time that she will have been with us. So we will be, and we have, of course, yeah, I have to make sure that I don't forget to go backwards now and not forward. So we will be in Bucharest, and from Bucharest we will go to Transylvania. So Transylvania is a beautiful region. I just need to check if I have it here. No, it's not here. I want to tell you about Transylvania. It's a region, as I said, that is north of the city of Bucharest, and it's located in the mountain chain that is called the Carpathians. The Carpathians have been very famous for a gentleman whose name was Vlad Dracul. Vlad Dracul, and well, already you understand what I'm talking about, because Dracula, so he was Vlad the Dragon. He was a slayer, and his nickname was the Dragon. So therefore Dracul in Romanian. And you will see when you will go to this castle of Bran that it is absolutely amazing. Because when you go in a sunny day, and I've had the chance to do both. When you go on a sunny day, castle looks absolutely superb. But when you go in a day that is not that sunny, immediately, or when you have a few clouds, it looks spooky. I mean, there's no other word. When you arrive there and you say you're not even in a movie. You really see how everything becomes dark. I mean, and all of a sudden, the trees, I mean, if you have a little bit of wind that everybody would enjoy, and you have this nice breeze when it's sunny, all of a sudden you feel like, what is this weird wind that is coming? And you will get to enjoy this entire area. And Bran is one part of it, but you will discover Brașov. Brașov is a city, it's the most important university city, a town after Bucharest. It is a city that is really northeast. It's a medieval town. You think that you come in another century. You will visit also, for example, Szekszárd, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And that's what you see. You have 3 days up there, and you have really a lot to visit. And when we're talking about the visits, don't forget one thing. They are included. So this means you do not have to worry about, do I have to pay for this one, or do I have to? No. You are on vacation with us, with AmaWaterways, with Roseborough, so your tours, they are included. So don't worry about having to pay anything. I always say, when we talk about the value of a trip, many people say, oh, I paid this and that. That's usually what they pay when they come out of the travel agency. After that, what you really want to see to make sure that you know what your vacation cost you is that you look at what you paid when you get off the ship. And there you're in for some big surprises with some of our friendly competitors. I can already assure you, unless you, of course, go buying our entire onboard shop, there will be a difference. But if you do not, the shopping cannot be counted. But when it comes to the value of what you pay for and what is included, I can tell you that we cannot be beaten. because you will be in the most beautiful hotels. You will be with the best guides, and the number of guests per guide, that's also something that is very important. When you will go on all these tours, and it is changing, I must admit, we don't have the entire picture for next year yet, but we're not too much concerned, because basically what we've been told by the European authorities is that they will want to have smaller groups, which is only at your advantage, and that's also at the advantage of the tour guide, because the smaller the group, the more intimate it is. So the more intimate it is, the more time you have to ask your questions, the more time the guide has to really explain what we're seeing and what we're talking about, and also the less everybody is stressed, because if you're in a very small group, you know where is your guide. Your guide knows who you are. It's not like you're in a group with 40 people where people can get lost at every corner. That's not going to happen. So, and I can tell you, I've been a cruise manager with AmaWaterways for almost 10 years now, on European rivers for 19 years. I've lost 0 guests in 19 years, and we do not intend to start next year with that. So you will see that it is really a great time that you will have there. And if for those of you who would go to the ship directly, what happens is that you will be then a couple of days later, you would arrive to Bucharest, and you will be driven directly to the ship. So just one little thing, when we talk about air, because many of you will have questions about the air. Well, again, I can only refer you to Amanda and the team, because we can offer the air to you. They can quote that for you. I know it is very, very competitive. And also the great thing is that anybody who takes the air with us, you will have a private transfer in limousine. We do not do any more bus transfers. We want to make sure that everybody feels safe. So basically, there will be one specific transport per party, and that's included if you have the air with us. So feel free to ask them about that. There are multiple possibilities when it comes to air. Even if you're in an area where there would not necessarily be a gateway, we work with, don't worry, Roseborough and AmaWaterways, we will work to make sure that you're taken care of. Even if you're in the middle of nowhere, we will find you. Even if we need to come pick you up with a bike first, and we'll do everything we need to pick you up. Don't worry. So we will visit Romania. We will also visit Bulgaria. So don't forget that on this trip, for those of you who have been in Europe, will be a little bit different from all the others, because there is no euro in this area. So this means that you will come back to the good old days. And when we say the good old days, basically we're talking about anything that is prior to 2002, because the euro was only introduced as the European currency, Western European or Eurozone currency, on January 1st of 2002. Before that, everybody, including myself, we always had when we wanted to go to another country, you wanted to go to Germany, you had the Deutschmark. You wanted to go to Austria, you had the shilling. You had the forint in Hungary, which you still have. You have the Italian lira, etc., etc. Pretty much that's what will happen to you when you will go back to this area of the world. You will have the leva, you will have the lei, you will have the Czech koruna. So it's lovely. Every day you will have all this monopoly money that you will be able to play with. So you will probably bring a lot of them back home, not knowing what to do with it, but you will be able to give it to the kids or the grandkids and explain to them that there are many differences in terms of currencies. And it is always really interesting to look at all these different banknotes. And don't worry, you do not have to take a lot of money with you. What I always say, and I apply this principle to myself, when I'm there, I always have about the equivalent of like $20 in cash with me in every area, just in case I would need to pay for a taxi or a coffee somewhere, etc. You don't need. It is very, very safe. It's actually way safer than many areas where we live. But there is no need to have a lot of cash with you, simply because the cost of life is way lower there already. and I can tell you that if you arrived, when you arrive and you have the equivalent of $100 in Bulgarian money, I mean, you look like the king. I mean, you're walking with your bundle of money like this, and it's really not normal to have so much money in cash. Everybody takes the credit card, so you don't have to worry about all this. And don't forget, and you will be on board the ship, your cruise manager, your reception team, they will be taking care. They will be taking care of you. Any questions you will have, go to them. We will be able to help you all the way. Now, one last little thing about that is different in this trip. You will see that when you will arrive on board the ship, the crew will ask you for your passport. And why is that? Because we will be changing countries pretty much every day. So in a 7-night cruise, you will be changing you will go through 4 different countries, actually 5 even. So that's why we keep the passports there they're in the safe of the ship, because we take care of all the formalities when you come in and out of a country. I think it's beautiful to do that. I can tell you, you will see that the purser of the ship has a huge work, because he or she is the person who takes care of all the formalities for all our guests and crew. But for you, I mean, it's like when you wait, when you go out in an airport and you wait, for example, to pass the immigration. That's pretty much what it is. The only difference is that there you will be on a beautiful ship. You can sip your little cocktail or wait on the sun deck until your cruise manager says, "Ladies and gentlemen, we are clear to go." You will be able to meet your guides just outside the ship, and off you go. And life is wonderful. So that's pretty much what will happen when you will arrive on the ship. And of course, we make sure that you get your passport back at the end. I mean, it's not that we don't love you, but we want to make sure that you can go home safely as well. Mm-hmm. So when we will be in Romania, basically the Danube River splits, is the natural border between Romania north and Bulgaria south. So we will just, on the first evening, we will just cross the Danube River. So it will be the occasion for you to have a first feel of how the ship is moving if you've never been on a cruise ship. And really, you will not feel anything. You will not even know that we are moving. It is so quiet on these ships that you will not even know. We might even be on the other side already, and you will not have realized. You will say, "But the river looks different from here." Yes, it's because you changed the country. And we will arrive, and then we will have our first excursion. And you see on this first picture here of Bulgaria, you see that there are already 3 tours. And of course, you will have the possibility to check in online. So approximately 60 days prior to the cruise, you will have the possibility to go online and do the check-in and select these tours. My advice, though, is unless you know exactly where you want to go and why you want to go there, do not feel rushed to do this check-in online. You will have the possibility to also select these excursions on board the ship, because the reality is, and I think it's fairly safe for me to assume that if you're going to go on this trip with Amanda and the team, I think it's safe for me to assume that you've never been in this area, which means that when I talk to you about Veliko Tarnovo, that sounds great. And that's the city that you see right there on the right. And it's a beautiful area. It used to be, it's one of the former capital cities of Bulgaria, way long before Sofia. And then you see a Rousse walking tour. And then you see the rock-hewn churches, and that's in Ivanovo. So you have these tours, but you don't know what they are. I mean, basically what you will have learned from it when you will do the check-in is probably 3 little lines that will tell you where to go. But when you're on the ship, the first day, the very first morning, you will have your cruise manager who will give you a cruise overview. And there you will see the description of each destination. And it will be a very in-depth description. Why? Because we want to make sure that you will have the best experience during your tours as well. We are very conscious that not everybody has the same walking capabilities, which is why not only will you be offered different destinations, you will also be offered different walking paces. You will have the gentle walkers, you will have the regular walkers, you will have the active walkers. If you're super active, we will even offer you bike tours. We will offer you hikes, depending on the destination. So it's really, you have a lot of choice, and you will have a lot of possibilities. And don't worry, there will be space for you. I mean, I've never seen a tour where we've said, no, I'm sorry, you can do this. Because the difference between us and some others is that, and I can tell you from experience where I was a guest last year, and for a cruise manager to be a guest on one of our own ships, I mean, it was a very interesting experience, I can tell you that. But we were in Passau, so we were way upstream on the Danube, and I wanted to take a hike with my wife. And we never have more than 20 guests in a group, no matter what. And all of a sudden, there were 22 people who were signed up. But what happened, instead of saying to 2 people, no, we can't do it, we just had another guide coming, and then we had a group of 10 and a group of 12. So no matter what, the touring experience will be great. Now, you may ask me, well, okay, but if you've been there, so what is your favorite? Okay. What my favorite is really not relevant, because it's what you will like. But my favorite is Veliko Tarnovo. Veliko Tarnovo is, as I said, a former capital city of Bulgaria. You see just a little part of the fortress here. The fortress is absolutely amazing because it's built on 3 hills. Veliko Tarnovo, you have 2 rivers going through it, and the fortress is built all around it. And you will have a lunch there. The food that you will get on the ship and also ashore, for me, is the best in the world. The tomatoes in Bulgaria are the most amazing tomatoes I've ever eaten. I go there, there is another town called Plovdiv, which was European capital of culture last year. It has a beautiful Roman aqueduct. I go there just for 2 things: the salads that they have, and I just eat lettuce, tomatoes, onions, and the bread, the pita bread that they make in these old brick ovens. You've never had that, with this little cheese that they have, and you will want to experience all this. Now, talking about food, food is very important. We want, again, that your experience is great at every level. If there is any dietary restriction, any dietary request, again, we will accommodate it 100%. That's for sure. When I say 100%, actually, there is only one dietary request that we cannot fulfill completely. It's a kosher diet, simply because literally we would need to build a second kitchen, which, I mean, you will see when you will be on the ship. On the ship, is the use of the space on the ship is absolutely amazing, but we cannot build another kitchen. But anything else, gluten, lactose, nuts, even celiac, we have the possibility to have, we do actually cook with different stations where there will be no cross-contamination. And I know that firsthand. My wife has a severe gluten allergy, and that's something very important. Say that, tell them that at Roseborough, because the more information we have ahead of time, the better it is for you. But in any case, we know that sometimes you might discover something. I mean, and you've booked, and then you go to your doctor and say, oh yeah, well, you've developed a little allergy to. When you will arrive on the ship, our crew, our reception team will ask you again, is there anything we should know about? And if there is, you will meet, prior to the welcome cocktail, you will meet with the chef and with the maître d' to make sure that everybody is on the same page and that you will enjoy this week at its best. So the food is incredible. I can tell you that there. That's Rousse. So that's a little part of Rousse. So the ship is docked approximately 10 minutes away from this little part of town. So Rousse it's a approximately 120,000 inhabitants town. It doesn't have it's not very important historically speaking. It is important because it is the largest port of Bulgaria on the Danube, not on the Black Sea, on the Danube. And you will see that visiting this city will give you a feel of what is northern Bulgaria. And you will learn about southern Bulgaria because you will not necessarily see it, but it's important to understand the differences that make the country. We will have, as I said, we will have some bicycle tours. So the bicycle tours, you will see that there's always 2 guides, one in the front, one in the back. But of course, if you decide that you don't want to go on a tour, but that you just would like to take a bike and take off on your own, feel free to do so. The only thing we ask you is to be back before the ship leaves. That's really the most important thing. But feel free to go and enjoy. You see that you will have the bikes. The bikes are sanitized every time before and after each and every use, so it's top clean. And we will make sure that you really enjoy these bike rides, because they are along the Danube. There are a lot of them. I mean, one is in Rousse, one is in Vidin. Vidin will be the next place where we will go, and that's where you learn about the banitsa. So the banitsa, that's this cake that you have here on the side, and basically you will learn to bake that. And Amanda was talking about the foodie tours, and that's one of the. So I might bring this name to the company. I mean, they might like it. So that's what we call limited edition or special interest tours. A special interest tour is if you want to discover a different aspect, instead of just looking at the sites, if you want to go in an area and learn, in this case, you will learn about the banitsa, and you will also learn a little bit about the Bulgarian yogurt. So the big focus is on the banitsa because the yogurt is used for it. And the Bulgarian yogurt, you probably know, has, and if you go to, I mean, your own supermarket, maybe Whole Foods or Publix or whatever, when you buy your yogurt, if you see that there is written in there, Bifidus bulgaricum, bulgaricum, which means comes from Bulgaria. That's an enzyme that is very, very healthy. And that's actually, as a matter of fact, the Bulgarian and Greek enzymes are the most healthy in the world. So you will see, they simply taste different. Go there, try that. You will see it's a beautiful tour. If you're not interested in the food, we have a few other things. Look at this. So that's the fortress of Belgrade. So Belgrade is a little bit inland. So we need to drive for about 30 minutes to get there, because you see it's in the mountains. So obviously the ship would be in the flat area. So about 30 minutes you go up, and the fortress of Belgrade, which dates back to the 13th century, is absolutely massive, and it has been used. It has used actually the landscape. When you see, you use the natural rocks to make a natural fortification. You see, the fortress goes very, very far, and there we have quite a few possibilities. You will have, as I said, regular walking, gentle walking. So the difference between gentle walking and regular walking in this area is very simple. The gentle walkers will be brought up to the entrance of the fortress, and you will be able to visit the very first part, which is completely flat. And after that, the regular walkers will go a little bit higher in the second part of the fortress, which actually is almost impossible to see, but it is right here. It's in this triangle behind this kind of gate that you have here. And then the active walkers that are then a hike, they will go all the way up. And trust me, this one is a real hike. But the view, and there you can't really see, but when you arrive in all these little spots and you have your camera or your iPhone, because nobody needs a camera anymore, so just take your iPhone, and you will take breathtaking pictures. One thing that I recommend to everyone though, and I'm pretty certain that my colleague as a cruise manager will tell you the same. It's nice to look at things when you take the problem is that everybody does this. Look at what you have in front of you. That's the most important. Take the picture and then just look, enjoy it. The picture will remind you of what you've seen. But how many times have I seen, and I'm taking another example, is when we are on the Seine River in Paris, and everybody wants to see the ship is right at the foot of the Eiffel Tower when it's sparkling at night. And then you see everyone like this, and nobody watched the Eiffel Tower. Oh, that's beautiful. Yes, well, just put the camera down and look at what you have in front of you. That's something super important. And in this area, the Vidin area and Belgrade is absolutely superb. Then you have also the possibility to visit Baba Vida. So Baba Vida, that's the fortress that you have here. This one is on the Danube. So it's been built later. It dates back to the 16th century, early 16th century. And you will see that history is very important there. And I was, for those of you who are online, when I was just talking to Amanda at the beginning, I think what is absolutely amazing about this area of the world is that you will discover Bulgaria, Croatia, all this in a completely different way. because many people know what is the vision that we have of these countries is the communist party. The Iron Curtain, I mean, we're talking about Stalin, communist countries, etc. But there is so much more to that. Why has this fortress been built along the river? But we have to look back and look at the Ottoman Empire. And the Ottoman, Suleiman the Great, and the Ottomans were invading from the south, southeast, and they were invading Europe. So what happened, since the most important communication or transport way was the river, the Danube River, they built all these huge fortresses everywhere. Bavavida is one of them. And you will really learn how it was to live in a fortress like this in the 15th and 16th century. And then you will start cruising. This part is absolutely breathtaking. It's called the Iron Gates. I would say that with the Rhine Gorge is probably the second, but I think the Iron Gates are the most beautiful gorge in entire Europe. What you see here is a monastery. It's superb, and you will pass right next to it. And you will see sites, and I will not name all of them because, of course, we want you to discover when you will be there. But you will learn about Roman emperors. I mean, Trajan, for example, and there is a table there that is 2,000 years old. And you will learn also that the Iron Gates are actually the name of a project of lock projects, 2 locks, gigantic locks. Actually, the 2 largest hydroelectric power stations in Europe. But what happens, for example, for those of you who would be familiar with another river like the Nile, you know that in Aswan, there was this huge dam that was built in the 1960s. Well, what happened here in the 1970s, 1971 actually, the Portiglie di Fiere, so the Iron Gates project was built. The problem is that when you build a dam, the water level rises approximately, in this case, approximately 100 feet. So you will learn about islands that you will not even see. Adakaleş, which is a Turkish territory that is still right there in the middle of the Danube, because the Danube is considered international waters. You have Adakaleş. You will learn about a village called Orshova, which is underwater, but they rebuilt the village above the water before flooding the entire area. So you will learn about all these, and you will learn about, again, the Tabula Traiana, so this table from Emperor Trajan. They did the same thing, and you could not leave a 2,000 years old artifact just on the water like this. So they removed it and put it back up. You will learn about the King Decebal. And King Decebal, you will see it's very, very impressive. And you see here, that's his face carved in the rock. That's approximately 100 feet tall, the face. And you will learn about the sculpture itself and the sculptor. So who made this? His name was Dragan Fecit. You will learn that he had a very sad end of life because basically he died from his sculpture. What he did, he was still finishing the nose. And when he picked on the nose, what happened is that the whole nose fell, and he fell with the nose, and that was the end of Dragan Fecit. But I mean, that's just a little anecdote there. But you see, this monastery that I was showing to you on the previous picture, that's the little one that is right here. Okay. So you see the size of the face, and you will be cruising 24 hours there. You will be on your way to Belgrade, so you'll be on your way to Serbia, and you're cruising. It is absolutely magnificent. When you will come out at night, and again, your cruise manager will tell you about this. There will be the fortress of Golubac, and the Golubac fortress really marks the end of the Iron Gates of the Kazan Gorge. That's the real name of the gorge. It's called Kazan. And you will, when you will look at it, for those of you who would have seen, all these movies like The Lord of the Rings, you will think you're right there. You will, I mean, this huge fortress with a gorge behind you, and you see the gorge as your ship goes away, closing behind you. It is a magical day, absolutely magical. And then, as I said, you will go to Belgrade. I mean, Belgrade, people probably remember the explosion of Yugoslavia. You will learn about it because now you're really arriving in the area that is still, it still evolves. It still evolves. I mean, you still have these little states that try to get their independence, and then they see that it doesn't work, so they're going back. Serbia is also, Serbia, for example, is not a member of the European Union. European Union at the moment has 28 countries. Serbia is not. We are considering, and when I say we now, it's the European part in me, but the European Union is considering now getting Serbia in the European Union. So there is a lot of work that has to be done. You will learn about the Balkan War from the end of the 1990s. You will even see remains of that during the city tour. You will go and visit the Saint Sava temple, which is right here. Beautiful, beautiful. When you will go inside, you will be actually stunned. And I'm not telling you why. You will see it's beautiful, but then when you enter inside, you will be like, oh, wow, it is really big, but that's not why you will be completely amazed. Then if you're not interested in visiting the temple, you don't have to. That's always the same thing. We can go touring, but we don't have to go touring. If you want to taste what you call Quburich, so Quburich is the name of the distillery, and this brandy tasting is absolutely beautiful because you go just outside Belgrade. It's called it's a mountain called Avala Mountain, and you go to Quburich. I love this tour. Not many people go. Usually it's like 15, 20. And everybody at the beginning is, oh my God, what will happen? And then when everybody comes back, everybody is laughing all the time for no reason. And you will see it is a beautiful, beautiful tour that you can take as well. And you will also have the possibility to visit Tito's memorial and the House of Roses, because Joseph Tito, again, in recent history, was crucial for the relationship between the United States, or let's say the Western world, and the Russian, the entire, actually the USSR. That's really what it was. Tito was the only one who could talk to West and East and tell them, look, you guys, you do what you want, but you're not messing with me. That's really how he was. And you will really learn that he did a lot of things for Serbia and for Yugoslavia at the time. He's still a very, very respected person there, Joseph Tito. That's why we will be docked when we're in Belgrade. So it's a beautiful area. You will visit. You will be also able to see the Petrovaradin Fortress. And we are docked in the heart of the city. That's the beauty when you are on all these river cruises. You're docked at the heart of the city, and right there. So it's, of course, it's very difficult to see. But here on the left, on the very left, so the ship will be literally docked here. And just there, you have the most beautiful mile in the evening. The river that you see here is not the Danube, it's actually the Sava River. And the two rivers connect, and there you have a beautiful walk with the most vibrant, modern bars, outside bars. It is absolutely superb, and it's just 2 minutes walk away from the ship. And since we stay there until midnight, you really have the time. I think it's always great when you're in all these cities to enjoy your city during the day and take a look. You have time. You have the time. So enjoy the time. Go out. You will see there is also in Belgrade, we have a super nice evening entertainment. It's called Talia. It's the most famous actually folklore dance group in former Yugoslavia, not only in Serbia. And actually they are so famous. Every second year they do a United States tourney, and I saw them in Chicago a couple of years ago. And since I know most of them, it was very special. And they come on board the ship. But if you want to go out, enjoy the time. And then we will continue our way. You will visit another, what I would call jewel. It's called, the name of the city is Novi Sad. And Novi Sad is very famous for the Petrovaradin Fortress. Again, a gigantic fortress that was here to defend against the Ottomans. That's also Petrovaradin. And what you see here, you have a huge music festival. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's called UP. And it is a massive concert. It lasts 5 days. And you have, of course, this year it's been a little change, but let's hope that it will come back next year. And you have people coming from all over Europe. I even saw, when was I there? 2014. And you had people like, I talked to you, Lady Antebellum was there. I've seen quite it's a very big festival. It's beautiful, but the city itself is absolutely magic. And you have right next to the city, if you want to do a real hike, you have Fruska Gora, which is a park, and it's again a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Everything built in the 16th and 17th century, everything original, beautiful, completely preserved, because it was one of the only places that was in the Balkan Wars. It was absolutely irrelevant. There was nothing strategic in there. There's no main road. There's no big railroad, etc. So everything was kept. That's one of the only places that you have there, and you will have a possibility to see. But to see this, but you see Novi Sad, beautiful town. Same thing. You will be there in the morning. You have the walking tour of the town. It's not big. It's not big, but it's important to learn about the architecture of the area, and then we will continue our way because you will want to learn about this Balkan wars and how people have learned to live this new way, because they're not Yugoslavians. It has separated families, because you had some families who were living in nowadays Serbia, and others in Bosnia and Herzegovina, some in Montenegro, some in Croatia, and you learn about all that. You will learn also about life in Croatia right after Novi Sad, because we will go to two, so that's another view on Novi Sad. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. We will go to Croatia, and we will go to Ilok. So when we will be in Ilok, you will have two possibilities. The first one will be a Croatian wine tasting, which I thoroughly recommend. I mean, it's a beautiful place. The name of the winery is called Principovac, and it is really a great winery. The wines that they have there are really, I will not say that different, but the way they make the wine, for those of you who would be a little bit familiar with winemaking, you will learn about a lot of differences between let's say the Western world way of winemaking, and when I'm very broad when I say that, because I was myself a winemaker in Germany, so I can tell you that the Germans, depending on the region where you are, you have a lot of differences based on, of course, the soil, the kind of grape that you will use, what you will want to do with your wine, and then you have the Italians who will have their own ways, the French will have their own ways, but there is always a silver lining here, and there is a method pretty much that you will find everywhere. Not here. There you will learn something completely different, and the valley and the area around Ilok is absolutely beautiful. If you're not interested in wine, which I can understand, I'm sorry for you, but I can understand that, you would have the possibility to visit Vukovar. So Vukovar, you will learn about how a city gets reborn after this Yugoslav war and the Balkan War. Vukovar was the area where it was really a massacre that happened there at the end of the war. If you choose this tour, you will also stop in a farm that is now a memorial, because there have been really massacres in there. So you will really learn the grim part of the conflict. But what I love, when you leave from Ilok, you will go to the farm, and then you come in the city. You will still see some of the sites that are kept as reminders. Don't forget what happened here. But then they've rebuilt everything. The Eltz Palace was complete. I mean, even 10 years ago was not like that at all. And the city is looking absolutely beautiful. Now, we are coming closer to the end of the cruise. So of course, we are also coming closer to wine areas. You don't have a lot of wine areas when you're towards the Black Sea. But when you come back to Croatia, Hungary, Slovakia, and Austria, I mean, there you have a lot of wine and a lot of beautiful wines. So you will see, and again, your cruise manager will mention this to you, because before going to this wine tasting, you will have to go, we will have to dock, we will enter Hungary. So Hungary is the entrance point, and the city where we will be, it will be Mohacs, is the entrance point to the so-called Schengen area. So the Schengen area basically is the free moving zone. It's kind of the United States. You know, when you enter the United States, after that you can drive from one state to the other. That's pretty much what it is when you enter Hungary. The others are not. It's the European Union, but it's not the free moving zone of the Union. So there will be a massive control on board the ship. And you will see, we must take this with humor. I mean, these folks, they do their job. They will ask, I mean, there's a face check. And the reality is they never tell us at what time. So don't worry, they don't come at 2 o'clock in the morning, but it's always very early, and you get ready to see all your fellow travelers coming in pajamas, with the hair not done, etc., to see the officers. It takes a few minutes, but they want to make sure that basically we are not sneaking anybody into Europe. So it is the start of the day when you arrive in Mohacs, and then you will have 2 wonderful tours once again. The first one, Szekszárd. So that's the wine tasting that you will have very close to the Villani area. Very nice wines. So we start talking about kinds of grapes that we know, that we're much more familiar with, Pinot Noirs, Chardonnays, and that you have in this area. Or if it's too early, because the tour starts at 9:30. So I know that sometimes it can be a little early to drink wine. I mean, not for me. I mean, just if you're hesitating to drink wine at 9:30, think that at the same time in Tokyo it's 6 p.m. and then it makes you feel much better. And if not, you can visit Pécs. And Pécs is, it was also actually just before Plovdiv, Pécs was one of the 3 European capitals of culture in 2016. It was sharing this with Marseille and Birmingham. And Pécs is a beautiful town, 120,000 inhabitants, just at the foot of the hill that you see behind, and very big university town as well. I love it because of the square where you are here, and this church. It's a church mosque, and you don't hear that very often. A church mosque is big. It's simply because during the time, but this building has never been destroyed, but it has been used. I mean, basically serving the purpose of different religions. For example, you have, I mean, another one that is, I mean, I cannot say unfortunately because it's being reactivated, but you know, the Hagia Sophia. So the pink mosque in Istanbul. It will now be reinstated as a mosque, but it started, the Hagia Sophia originally was a church. And it has, so you have quite a few of these buildings there, and the area is absolutely stunning. You will love this area. There is also, you will go and visit a Roman necropolis. It is there. The excavations are still not complete, but you will go visit it. It is absolutely beautiful. Nobody expects that. That's the beauty, I think, in these areas, is that it is something kind of new to everyone. I mean, you would have gone a few years ago, everybody would have said, "Oh, the lower than you go, I'm not going there." Now, with I think COVID has, everybody will like COVID there because it brings the light. It sheds some light now on these areas that are not overpopulated and overcrowded. And that's the beauty. You don't have a lot of ships. I can tell you that. I think the maximum I've seen in all these years, and it was probably last year in Belgrade, we were 3 ships at the same time. So 3 ships, we're talking about 450 people. That's really not a lot. And when you think about the size of the city, I mean, adding 450 people, that's really not a lot. And that's the beauty. That's what you will have to, that's what you will enjoy, to have this, you know, not feeling like you're in an area with tourists. That's not what you want. You have really a lot of beautiful places to discover everywhere. And then, of course, we will be, so Mohacs, that's the city that I mentioned to you earlier. That's the entrance point to the Schengen area. And our cruise will finish in Budapest. So the picture, of course, the building that you see there, the House of the Parliament, a beautiful building. You will see it during the day and you see it also during the night. You have also this beautiful church here on the red one, the Lutheran church that is on the other side. So basically this picture here is taken from the Buda side. So you see that on the other side, everything is flat. The flat part is Pécs. So that's basically Budapest is the connection of these 2 cities. There were 2 separate cities in the past. It's Budapest as one city is approximately 145 years old only, and it is a great place to finish a cruise and maybe to continue towards one of my other favorite cities, which would be Vienna. You could do a post extension in Vienna, and the beauty there is that the ship to cruise. So we will disembark the ship. The ship would need approximately 24 hours to go to Vienna. but we will drive there, and we'll be there in less than 3 hours. That's the beauty of it. And when you arrive there, you arrive at the, again, a great hotel, the Intercontinental, which is located just on the Ring Road. Beautiful, beautiful place. Before going to Vienna, we need to, of course, talk about what we will see in Budapest. So the Fisherman's Bastion. So that's this little one here on the top left. So it is it's for decoration purposes only. I mean, everybody thinks it's a line of defense. It looks like it could have been built in the medieval times. It wasn't. It's from the 19th century. And of course, you will see the St. Stephen's Basilica, which is this one here. By the way, the St. Stephen's Basilica, has this exact same height as the House of the Parliament, 96 meters, and no building on the Pécs side is allowed to be built taller than any of these two buildings. And the number 96, you will hear about it many times, because it has to do with the creation, with the creation of the country. And for example, the House of the Parliament, which you see here, was inaugurated in 1896, and the country was 800 years old. It is 96 meters tall. It has the country was founded in 1096, Hungary as we know it. So that you will hear about this number everywhere. So that's what you can expect at night. That's the last view. That's the last cruising experience that you will have. And it's really, I mean, I really love these kind of pictures, because I've done that probably 50 times, an illumination cruise. And you can be sure, all my colleagues, everybody is the same, even the captains, everybody takes the picture again and again and again. It is absolutely superb. Really, and that's just one monument. The Matthias Church, the Royal Castle, the House of the Opera, the Gresham Palace, which is now, I mean, Gresham Palace is a beautiful Art Nouveau building that is just in prolongation of the Chain Bridge, which houses now the Four Seasons Hotel. All of them at night are absolutely stunning. That's the Royal Palace, for example, with the Chain Bridge. So you can't see, actually, the Four Seasons would be completely on the left of that. But that's really what you will see during the night. As you see, during the day, looks very different. A beautiful place, and that's at the end of the day. And then Vienna. So we will tour Vienna if you decide to go there. We will take you to, we will have a little orientation walk when we arrive. So that's usually your cruise manager who takes our guests. And just because we will arrive there around 4 p.m., 4 p.m., you arrive at the hotel, relax a little bit. And what I like to do, I take my guests out around 5:30, 6 to show you where to go. If you want to go to a restaurant, and of course, each and every cruise manager has his or her spots that you like to show to your guests. But it's also for you to be able to walk a little bit and to get familiar with the area. And then the next day, we visit the city. We have the possibility also to visit the Palace of Schönbrunn, and you have also the possibility to go. There is the possibility to take part to a concert, a Viennese concert. And that's, I mean, Vienna is absolutely amazing. And of course, I wrote pre-excursion here. Don't forget that I'm going backwards. So it would have started usually in the other directions. It would be the post-extension. And again, that's the itinerary. So you see, you could start either in Istanbul or here in Transylvania, and then Bucharest, go to Giurgiu. That's what we've just done. So Veliko Tarnovo, remember the old capital city, and then Vidin, Belgrade, the Iron Gates. So that's quite a stretch. You will be cruising approximately 650 miles there, 680 miles. That's quite a good distance. So again, there is, and now what I think I will do now is that I will open the conversation. So I unmute everyone if there are questions. I think it is a great trip. It will be at the time of a year as well where it will be beautiful, because in October, the beauty of this is that it will, the heat, don't forget that it is considered central, I mean, it's not considered, it is Central Europe. So you have a continental climate, meaning that it can be very dry and hot in summer. But in October, the weather is pretty much picture perfect, because you will have temperatures that will be like 60, 65 in the morning, and you will go, maybe you will reach 80 in the afternoon, but it will be like 75. That's more what it is. And the beauty also is that you don't have super short days. The days, I mean, the daylight is still pretty long, so you will have the possibility to really enjoy your evenings on the Sunday, have a little glass of wine with friends or something, or with Amanda and the team, or whoever is there, because I know that they love it. Voilà. So, are there any questions, folks? Or maybe in the chat. I don't know.
I have a comment to say. I'm very excited to see that everybody going on to Vienna still gets the chance to see Budapest, do like the day tour instead of just ending and going straight on. So it's kind of the best of both worlds.
Yes, absolutely. That's it is. And the great thing is that you learn also about the history, because these two cities have been in competition all the time when it was the Habsburgs. And basically, Vienna kind of won when the Empress Maria Theresia decided that Vienna would be the capital city of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. But they were competing in terms of architecture. They are both beautiful cities. So who is booking?
Already on it. We have
Good.
some others on the webinar who are already on the trip.
Well, that's good. I hope they still want to go.
I see Judy and Bruce. Catherine was on. There's a few people who are already on the trip, so that's exciting.
I tried to, and of course, if there are questions, as I said, I mean, feel free to contact the ladies at Roseborough, because there are questions that come. I tried to cover quite a few with, when it comes to what I would call housekeeping items, I mean, the passports, etc. But there might be some things that I have not covered yet, and please never hesitate to ask us. That's pretty much, that's why we are here, and it's really, you will love this trip. It's absolutely amazing.
You brought this up a little bit earlier that our price really can't be beat. Right now we have a $500 off booking promotion. So that was really exciting to be able to offer to our explorers. $500 off.
Good.
Good. So really, no questions. Was I so thorough?
Really good.
They're drinking their wine.
I think that's it. I'm gonna go home and look up a recipe to make this banista so that I can try it before we go.
Banitsa, yeah. Well, but you will. It's really cool. I love this tour. So you usually it's a special interest. So you usually you have like it depends. I mean, I've seen sometimes a tour starting with 4 people, and sometimes having a 30 guests going, and then we had to really split it in 2. But everybody brings it back, and I mean, the quantity of banitsa that is brought back to the ship, and everybody wants to try it. It's really fun, because everybody is proud of what they've done. Or sometimes, I mean, and they're like, sometimes people will say, well, don't look at it, just eat it, because sometimes.
I love it. All right, well, if nobody else has any other questions for Sebastien, our team at Roseborough is always here for you. Thanks so much for joining us today, and we cannot wait to have you join us on an AmaWaterways river cruise. We've got, like I said, the $500 off booking promotion, so that's awesome. And let me tell you, I've been on several AmaWaterways river cruises, and they're incredible. You get top-notch customer service, the experience on board. They started social distancing before it was even a trend, because their cruise ships are the same size cruise ships as the rest of the industry, yet they hold about 40 less passengers. So you're getting bigger staterooms, more open spaces, and the experience on board and off board with their tour directors and their cruise hosts and all of their guides is absolutely unbeatable. So I cannot wait for you to join me on the Gems of the Southeast Danube, or for you to join any AmaWaterways river cruise through any of our travel advisors at Roseborough Travel. Thank you so much, Sebastien, for hosting this event today. And thank you all of our explorers who got on today. I see claps, thank you. You did an excellent job really bringing us through the heart of Europe on a Danube River cruise. So thank you so
My pleasure.
All right, everybody, we'll
Anytime.
see you then.
Anytime.
And
Bye.
feel free to email us or call us when
Bye.
you go ahead and book this trip.
Yeah. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you for joining.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.